We got a doozy of an update for you. From Leon being able to evade attacks, suplexing enemies, Ashley gameplay, Mercenaries being included, an upcoming demo, and much more. We're going to get into all that right now. With the third trailer of Resident Evil 4 Remake out on the internet, and with a ton of new content and features shown within it, let's take a closer look at this highly anticipated remake. The first thing we should discuss is the fact that Leon can now evade attacks. Similar to the original game, in which Leon could get out of the way of an attack, like this one shown here against the fight with Krauser, the player could press the appropriate buttons on screen to evade. Well, we can see exactly that here in the Krauser fight in the remake. Not only that, but Leon is seen dodging all manner of attacks as well, like thrown objects being hurled towards him. This kind of defensive maneuverability further cements Leon as a tour de force, as his capabilities have vastly improved since his outing in Raccoon City many years ago during the events of Resident Evil 2. Those years of training since then have come full circle here in Resident Evil 4 Remake, as we see players have more defensive options to dodge or deal with incoming attacks. In addition to the aforementioned ability to dodge out of an enemy attack, we can also see that Leon can parry such attacks as well. Thrown weapons, Krauser's knife strikes, heck, even the Garrador's slashes can be parried as well, opening up a lot of great timing-based options for players to utilize should they choose. Sticking with the parrying for just a tad longer, let's jump back to the fight with Krauser. As stated by the game's developers during Game Informer's Q&A session in the previous video, the knife fight scene with Krauser will highlight the parrying system implemented throughout the game. It looks like the fight with Krauser will certainly be a test of getting the timing down, as we can see the fight will test players to pull off the proper timing of the parries, often back to back in quick succession to get through some of Krauser's attacks. Moving on, let's talk about Ashley. We get to see a lot more from Ashley as Las Plagas continues to take over her. We can see visible signs of the effects here around her eyes, and she even says,
"Temperance, child." Oh my god!
After taking Leon's knife from him in a completely new scene that wasn't in the original. This is clearly the doing of Sadler, able to speak through her with Las Plagas dominating her control during that moment. It will be really awesome to see how far they take the narrative this time with the effects of Las Plagas. Could there be gameplay implications for the Las Plagas effects? Only time will tell. Speaking about Ashley, let's focus real quick on her gameplay. Just like the original game, we are able to take control of Ashley in the remake, and she's got a lantern to help light her way instead of the flashlight in the original. Unlike the original, however, is the space in which her section takes place. Because with the mere few seconds of gameplay provided from the trailer, we can see Ashley navigating her way through the near pitch black passageways of a library. For a brief moment, we can see what looks like to be an Armadura trying to make its way to Ashley, as her light from the lantern reflects off the shiny plates of armor from this animated knight. This is going to be a thrilling moment, and one that will surely bring heavy doses of horror to balance out the bombastic action we've seen from this third trailer here. And before we move away from Ashley for the rest of this video, we have to talk about the return of the Hall of Water. Yeah, you know the one. One of the most infamous areas from the original game, both in its challenge and literally putting the mechanic of escort mission front and center for this section. The Hall of Water, for better or worse, is definitely back here. We can see Leon sniping and blowing the head clean off of this enemy as Ashley seems to be rotating a valve in this remake, rather than cranking a lever in the original. Let me know what your thoughts are of the Hall of Water returning here in this remake in the comments below. This third trailer from Capcom has focused a lot of its footage for the castle part of the game, as we can see the Hall of Water, the fight with the Garrador, Ashley's gameplay section, and more here. One particular area that was quite memorable from the original game was the elevator ride Leon had to take to ascend to the upper reaches of the castle to take on its mighty ruler, Salazar. It looks like these cultists now sport different variations to their appearances in this remake, with some of them shirtless or robeless, as we can see here on the elevator. The courtyard, as shown here with the catapults, makes its return as well, and we can really see the point driven home here that Ashley really has nowhere to hide, and no dumpster to hide in, as she is following Leon around amidst flaming balls of fiery cannonballs. One interesting thing to note here is when we pause the video here. Do you see that? This blue figure out here in the distance? Could this be perhaps a blue medallion of which we could see from the village section prior? Could this be a blue flyer with a potential side quest we could partake in? If so, this could mean that side quests we saw from the previous gameplay videos could appear here in the castle, and perhaps even the island section of the remake. With each section potentially having numerous side quests and side content available for players, the completion time for those looking to leave no rock unturned to 100% the game could see a few hours tacked onto an already beefy single-player game. But I want to know from you, do you think we'd see side quests extend beyond the village section? Is that a blue medallion or flyer we see in the distance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We can't not mention our buddy Luis here, as he gets a lot of screen time in this trailer. Fans of the original are quick to point out that Luis is definitely going to be getting a larger role here in this remake, as there are gameplay moments that take place here in the remake that have Luis in them that would otherwise have him long since dead in the original game. Curious, right? We see Luis helping us fight off the two El Gigantes in this remake, in addition to helping us navigate through the catacombs and the mine train section, of which in the original saw players going solo through these exact sections with Leon. Interesting to think about, and one that I am really excited for, personally, as we could potentially get to see much more to the side of Luis where we can understand his role as a scientist, a role that could be greatly expanded upon here in the remake over the original. What are your thoughts here about Luis seemingly sticking around longer throughout the campaign over his earlier death in the original? Let's discuss this in the comments. Speaking of Luis, we can't brush over the insane transformation of the minecart section in this remake. The original game saw the minecart section to be more of a stop and go like flow to it, in which the carts would stop, allowing enemies to jump in, and tasked Leon with eliminating the enemies while the train kept moving. In the remake, it looks like this concept was slashed from what we see in the trailer, and instead we have multiple carts traveling alongside Leon and Luis along adjacent tracks. We can see a chainsaw ganado to their left and numerous other ganados to their right, along with a barrel of explosives that we can shoot at to conveniently dispose of groups. Now, let's talk enemies for a quick moment. Here early in the trailer, we see a parasite mounting the back of a zealot as it rushes towards Leon. We never saw anything quite like this in the original, so to say that enemies appear more aggressive here in this remake is quite the understatement. More importantly, let's pause the footage here real quick. Do you see the +1 underneath the ammo like I do? Could this potentially be some sort of a case charm buff that increases the clip size of your firearms? That could definitely come in handy, and just something to think about. Also, as mentioned before, we see the horrifying Garradors make their return here, and are sure to be great encounters. And what about these pesky flying creatures? I don't know about the rest of you, but seeing the Novistador here in this trailer brought a smile to my face. Mike returns with as much firepower in the previous game during this over-the-top section at the island, and as happy as I am to see Mike return here, I am more looking forward to seeing this relationship with the other members of the task force, like Hunnigan, play out here in the remake. Before we wrap up the video, we have to talk about Mercenaries mode making a triumphant return here. I can't wait for this mode, as the mode in the original game was perfection, and I really hope they choose to make this Mercenaries mode more in line with that of the original and less like the one in RE Village, with that game's Mercenaries mode being more loadout based and more linear in level design. No word on whether Ada's campaign and Assignment Ada mission will be present in the remake, but I will be sure to update you all here if we find out. And we do have a demo coming out real soon. Like, so soon that it might be out during the time this video is published soon. Although we have no details about what the demo will be, whether it's time-based where you can only play for a brief moment before you cannot play it further, or if it's a standard demo of a particular area of the game is yet to be known. Rest assured, we will be getting that demo soon, as we have less than a month to go before the game officially arrives on March 24th, 2023. So, what do you think of the new trailer for Resident Evil 4 Remake? Are you liking what you're seeing of this remake so far? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to participate in the Deluxe Edition giveaway I have for this game, linked in the pinned comment and in the description, and watch this video here for all the information I could compile from the Q&A session Game Informer did with Capcom. Make sure to stay tuned to this channel for everything Resident Evil as we approach the game's release date, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video coming out real soon. Peace!